Absolute Wonder Woman issue 9, Kelly Thompson writing with Hayden Sherman on the art. So this is continuing from that cliffhanger last issue in which Dr. Poison had kind of lured in Wonder Woman and told her that he knows of an Amazon in Area 41. That detail may not have came until this issue, but yeah, that's what he was hinting at. So, she insists that he stop all the little bots, little spider bots that are playing the Tetricide's call, its voice, and she agrees. She also warns Wonder Woman that, hey, if you punch me, it'll probably break my suit and I'm toxic gas and it'll probably kill a lot of people, so you might not want to do that. So we were kind of theorizing at the end of the last issue that this is interesting if she's going off script and betraying Kale and is trying to actually do something good. But this issue definitely plays it close to the chest of is she trying to help, or has she got an ulterior motive? Is she, even if she isn't working on behalf of Kale, maybe she's doing this for her own reasons, but maybe there's still something nefarious, or at least a negative to luring Wonder Woman into what they're calling the maze, which is basically this big mystical dungeon that Area 41 is built on top of.
Yeah, it's like the labyrinth, complete with a minotaur, judging from the cover, right? So that's what I was thinking, is Kale's built over the labyrinth, from Greek myth.
We're talking about the big man. You have to hold it back. Yeah, Ferdinand shows up.
yeah. I was in a build of Ferdinand, because we all know I love Ferdinand as a character. Her Minotaur friend in the main universe, and now seems to be popping up here. And the fact that he seems to be on her side. Yeah, because at least early on.
One of the things that Dr. Poison points out is that this maze, if you want to call it that, is it's full of beings that some were down there already, some were put there by Veronica Cale and her company. It's like a mix of the two, and claims that the Amazon that's down there was already there, I think she said. So it's okay, we're building up some stuff. She gets rid of all the spider bots by making a little portal for them all to crawl into.
Right back down to hell.
Yeah.
According to Diana. Yep.
The rest of the team who are all hanging out in Wonder Woman's place all think this is a bad idea, it's a trap. They also spend some time talking about this head she's got on the wall, and they're like, wait, this seems out of character. Why does Wonder Woman have this head of a beast on her wall? She doesn't seem like a trophy hunter. But it turns out it's because this head, if you don't display it like this, the legend has it that it will, you'll be shamed and you'll be whatever. But one day the head will probably, or should, grow back, because this is a three-headed creature. Because they think it's what did they call it?
A manticore.
Manticore, but this is a three-headed version of a manticore that would always grow back. You have to kill all three heads. So I'm like, okay, so we've got like Tiger Ghidorah, but judging on the head that I'm seeing there.
Yeah.
All right, sure, why not? So
yeah. Diana says, that she does it because it's honoring the creature, and because if not, she says, I stain upon my name the knowledge that I do not honor bargains or respect customs that are not my own, that I kill without mercy and deny honor to those that I face. So the fact that she just does it because she's honoring these traditions, and that's very much who she is. Right? It's just deep in her core that even though she's been raised in hell, she's the last Amazon, there's still this thing that she's bound by honor. And I really like that. That is very much Wonder Woman to her core.
Yeah, and shout out to the layouts on these couple of pages. There's a great sense of motion. So the first panel as they're walking away from the fireplace is it's got a curve, but it's basically a triangle coming from the top left-hand corner. And some of the characters in the next panel overlap with it, and it really gives this sense of movement from them walking from one place in the room to the other, where Diana's getting the vase off the mantle or whatever it is. I just think there's a good flow to everything on there. Same with the next page, because it does these kind of circular designs. Like some panels have got circular parts, and other panels are like circulars have been cut out of them to fit the other panels. And it just gives this sort of unique flow, because on that next page where she's explaining some of this stuff and she's talking about the man-eater and whatnot, there's a semicircle panel of, I think it's Etta next to the fireplace, and it just sticks out so much. But the entire shape of all these panels, because everything's so circular in the bottom half of the page, it looks almost like the act of pouring a vase out. right? Which is what Wonder Woman does at the end of the page. But if you look at the way that like that circular panel comes from that top corner one down to this like circular set of panels at the bottom, I don't know, there's a really interesting flow to it, and it feels like Sherman's just very good at coming up with unique things that make it feel dynamic without ever, and there's never a question of like order or like confusion or anything like that. It's always very natural, always flows very well.
And then so another thing I noticed too was once we get into the labyrinth and the maze, the panels become more sharp and angular, right? And there's less of that soft flow, which I think is a really cool stylistic touch, because it makes it seem like in a place where that's nothing but corners. Yeah, actually, now we're taking up in that.
One of the things that I would point out there actually is that the first page where she walks into, because there's a couple of pages of flashback where Diana says that she got a dream from well, she doesn't say Artemis, it's Siri figures out it's Artemis, but they go to the maze, like you said, and you talk about the angular panels and how everything becomes very square. Not even just angular, like they're angular in the sense that it's all right angles and whatnot, but it's also they feel like they're on like a perspective, like they're an isometric view. That's kind of what you also mean by angular, and that gives it a really interesting kind of feel. But what I want to point out though is that first page where she walks in and she's walked through the portal, is that there's still a few curves left over of that previous style, and it kind of transitions on that first page where there's some semicircular stuff as it goes down into the next panel, but it's once the portal closes that it shifts entirely to harsh angles. And then from that point on, every single page down here, at least for the foreseeable future, but we'll get ahead later, but it's all these harsh angles, right angles, everything sort of tilted so it's on an isometric kind of view to give it this sense of depth, and like Diana walking towards the reader as if it's a camera. Just all very good. So
I love it. It's why Sherman's one of my favorite artists working right now. It's because of stuff like this.
In fact, and when it switches back to having some curves, it's when she encounters Ferdinand. Maybe you could read into that and say that, oh, there's someone here that might be friendly. So, like this is someone that brings some comfort back, and it's not just the harsh world anymore she's in. But yeah, she ends up helping because she basically like sees Ferdinand fighting a bunch of these fishmen, and she uses she basically is up to him with the Nemesis lasso and kind of figures out like, okay, who's the bad guy here, and then understands why Ferdinand's doing what he's doing and says, okay, you have my help, friend. Let's do it. So yeah, they start working together, and they fight a bunch of fishmen, so we get some action. And notably, from an art perspective here, I really like the coloring where everything is like these muted blues, except the Nemesis lasso, which lights up red and has a glow to it. So the red just pops constantly in every single panel.
And then when it gets to Ferdinand, and Ferdinand's like a purplish kind of hue, and it makes him stand out against the fishmen who are blue, and then Diana, who's mostly bathed red from holding the lasso. There's just some really good color theory stuff going on. Yeah,
just really good stuff, really good use of colors. But yeah, Ferdinand's trying to save this girl who is been taken by the fishmen. And Diana's asking a bunch of questions about this place. And basically he's like, I don't know about any Amazons, but maybe Clea's an Amazon. So he mentions her on the final pages. We see this Clea, and Diana's like in her narration says this is no Amazon, but this is she says, oh, it's not just Clea, it's Queen Clea, and she clearly wants to rule this maze, and all the fishmen seem to be working for her. So it's interesting to find out who this is, but we don't think it's an Amazon. I mean, unless this is
not an Amazon.
Yeah, is this a character that we should know, or is this? It is, okay. Go on.
Not that we should know, but it's someone from deep Wonder Woman lore. She first appeared in Wonder Woman number 8 in 1944.
Oh, okay. Not Rebirth 8, the one you always bring up.
No.
Okay. Well, let me add on another question then, just since you gave me that so specifically. I'm assuming that you did not know that then, and you only are telling me this because you looked it up. Okay, that's fine.
Yes, absolutely. I felt like I've heard the name Queen Clea before, and it's because I had read another book she had popped in back pre-New 52, right? But she's actually an Atlantean, and she's a dictator of a old outpost of Atlantis. And she was part of Villainy Inc. back in the Golden Age.
Damn.
With Cheetah, Giganta, and Dr. Poison.
So this is like a D tier villain then that I've just never really encountered. At least I don't remember. I mean, it's possible she's in like a group shot or something in a comic I've read, but you know.
Yep. And so when I had read her, it was during the Nemesis stuff in Wonder Woman, like, again, we're talking like 2008, 2009, around that time. So it's been a minute, but yeah. So all the Fishmen, it's because she's an Atlantean ruler, right?
Yes.
Which once that collect, all that stuff hit, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But definitely not an Amazon.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. I also think her outfit looks vaguely Atlantean. Like, other than the red cloak, everything's very Atlantis in colors. The staff is pretty Atlantis looking.
Huh?
You know, so I can definitely see it in the design. So no. Yeah, no, I think this was another solid issue of this book. Obviously, I was kind of hoping we'd get maybe a little bit more of the, like, Kale, like, Dr. Poison stuff here, but I'm definitely intrigued by this maze stuff and this idea that they've effectively built, like, an Area 51 style location on top of it because they know that there's, like, mystical stuff. It makes me even think a little bit of Stranger Things and, like, oh, we're going to build a lab here because there's a portal downstairs leading to this other dimension. So, no, curious.
And yeah, just the stuff with Ferdinand too, that he saved this girl who's a siren, right? And he's just trying to do right. And yeah, the fact that we end up getting a good Minotaur, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully he joins Diana's group of friends. She brings him back because we all know how she is with animals.
Yeah, he might. I mean, I could also see it being like he ends up staying down here as her contact, and he's like going to try and police this area because like not everyone can just come back from here because there's too many dangerous things. Or something, I don't know. I'm just
that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
And just the flashback with Cersei and Diana saying that she's had a dream about this goddess with antlers and blood coming down off of her head, and Cersei being worried that it's too soon.
Yeah, she knows what this means. Like, she knows exactly what this is, whatever it is.
And that she likes my name. So Diana is the name of Artemis in the Roman version of the Pantheon. So the fact that was there. So, but we know that Hecate is Diana's patron, right? That's the goddess that she invokes the most. So yeah, I wonder what's going on with Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, you know, and what that means. She sounds metal as hell, you know, but the fact that Cersei seems to be worried, that had me very curious.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see next time. I imagine we'll get maybe a little sprinkles of this flashback story as we're getting the main story. So no, a solid issue. Art is still great. Layouts are fantastic. I like the speculation about Dr. Poison's intentions. You know for a fact that animal head's going to like pay off sometime down the line. So that's something, and then Ferdinand's a cool addition here, and we talked about the art pretty extensively, at least with the layouts and the colors anyway. So really, really great stuff. What are you giving Absolute Wonder Woman?
8.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with 8.5. Yeah, and Joe, honestly, I think when I read the issue, I was thinking, I think that was just an 8 this time. But talking about it, I'm like, nah, it's still an 8.5 at least.
just the art alone and what Sherman's doing there with the panels and the flow and the colors, all that type of stuff. It's top notch. It is. I said on social media today, I'm pretty sure Absolute Wonder Woman is my favorite ongoing book right now. It's the one I look forward to reading every month more than the others. And then the other one's Batman Dark Patterns, which also art by Sherman. But that's a maxi series. That's not a ongoing as far as we know.
I don't think we know it's a maxi series either.
I thought it was out of 12.
No, I don't think we know that. I think you've manifested that.
If it's an ongoing, then it's my other. It's right behind Wonder Woman. So, Absolute Wonder Woman.